When I went to register for the land compensation in my hometown, I discovered that my marriage certificate was nowhere to be found. I went to the local civil affairs office to request a replacement, but after multiple searches, the staff firmly told me, "Ma'am, you're listed as single in our system. There's no record of any marriage for you." I remembered my husband, Daniel Carter, once saying he had connections and could get the certificate without us waiting in line. We never went to the office ourselves. Instead, a friend of his brought the marriage certificate to us. My first thought was that we'd been deceived by his friend. A month later, Daniel returned from out of town. I was about to confront him about the certificate when I overheard him and our son Ethan Carter secretly video calling a woman in his room. Daniel's voice was tender as he said, "My sweet wife, for our 15th anniversary, I'll make sure to be back in time." Ethan, in a whiny tone, added, "Auntie, when will you come get me? I don't want to stay with that old hag anymore." I felt like I'd been struck by lightning. For years, while Daniel worked away, I stayed home, caring for his parents, managing the household, and raising Ethan. He only returned for holidays, never staying more than a few days. I never imagined he'd betray me so cruelly. If that's how it was, they wouldn't get a single cent of the compensation money, and his parents' illnesses could just take their course. I stood outside the door, listening to their conversation. Ethan said to Daniel, "Dad, didn't you say Mom makes you sick? When can we live openly with Auntie Fairy? I want to buy her those pearl earrings I saw online for $2,200, but I don't have the money." Daniel sighed. "Tell your mom you need $1,200 for summer camp fees. She works hard and saves every penny. She must have plenty stashed away. Don't feel guilty. She's basically a free nanny for your grandparents and you. It's her job." Ethan nodded thoughtfully. "You're right. You didn't marry Auntie Fairy because you didn't want her to suffer with housework or caring for Grandma and Grandpa. She's too perfect for that kind of hard work." Then he asked, "What are you getting Auntie Fairy? She loves flowers." Daniel replied, "I used 5 years' savings to fill a room with flowers flown in from abroad. She'll love it." The next day, Daniel mentioned signing Ethan up for summer camp. Ethan casually said, "Mom, just transfer the money to Dad's account." I didn't respond. Instead, I showed Daniel the medical reports for his parents. "This is your father's. The doctor diagnosed him with dementia and several chronic conditions. He'll need constant care. This is your mother's. Her arthritis is worsening, and she may end up bedridden long term." Daniel didn't even glance at them, cutting me off coldly. "You're always so dramatic. Old people get sick. It's normal. Hospitals just want money. If you're taking care of them, do it. If it's too much, buy some medicine and call it a day." Ethan chimed in, mocking me. "Mom, you're so gullible, believing everything doctors say. Stop meddling and give us the money." His face was full of disgust. I once thought his behavior was just teenage rebellion, but now I realized he was simply heartless, no longer the sweet boy who promised to love me forever. I suppressed my emotions, took a deep breath, and said, "We don't have money. A family of 4 lives on $200 a month. For years, I've supported your parents and Ethan's education. My $600 monthly salary is gone every month. Ma, I worked tirelessly for this family, never complaining, only to learn my son wanted to spend $2,200 on earrings for another woman. Thankfully, the land compensation would soon come through, $800,000 in 3 houses. I'd once planned to move the family to Chicago after receiving the money, so we could be together and treat his parents' illnesses. The house we lived in was inherited from my parents. After marriage, Daniel transferred his residency to my household. He was supposed to get a share, but since the marriage certificate was fake and his residency fraudulent, he had no legal claim. I hadn't told him yet. Ethan exploded, his eyes red with anger, shouting, "Stop making excuses! You don't love me! You're not fit to be my mom!" Daniel also yelled, A real mother would sell her blood before saying such things to her son. I looked at the man before me, my heart ice cold. Daniel and I were childhood sweethearts. He pursued me, proposed to me. I thought understanding each other was enough for a peaceful life, but after Ethan was born, Daniel started working away, claiming it was for a better life for us. Our daily calls and texts dwindled to occasional contact. If I didn't reach out, he never did. He always posted about being too busy, so I rarely called, afraid of disturbing him. I never suspected he had another family elsewhere. To him, I was just a fool, a tool. They stormed out furious. Strangely, with my heart hardened, I felt an odd sense of relief. But I never expected Daniel and Ethan to conspire to sell the new burial plot I'd bought for my parents, using the money to fund Ethan's summer camp and visit that woman in Chicago. Years ago, after my parents died, Daniel claimed he needed $50,000 to settle a fight he'd gotten into, or he'd go to jail. I drained our savings to help him, leaving nothing to buy a proper burial site for my parents. Their ashes were temporarily stored in a rural hillside. A few months ago, after earning a $5,000 bonus and saving up, I spent $8,800 on a new plot, planning to relocate their ashes that day. But the cemetery staff informed me the plot had already been sold to someone else. They showed me the transfer contract. Furious, I called Daniel. "How dare you sell the plot I bought for my parents? You're heartless. They treated you like their own son." Not only did he show no remorse, he retorted arrogantly, "You're too superstitious. Spending money on graves is a waste. The dead are just ashes. Where they're buried doesn't matter. Stop making a fuss." Ethan grabbed the phone and said coldly, "Mom, you're so annoying. Grandma and Grandpa have been dead for years. Why waste money on them? Don't call us again. You're ruining our lives." Then he hung up. I sighed. Fine, I don't need this son anymore. I'll buy my parents an even better plot, and you two can disappear from my life like garbage. That afternoon, I signed the compensation contract, confirming all the money was mine. Then I bought my parents a better burial plot. Daniel's mother called, sobbing, "Sarah, my old illness flared up. My legs hurt so bad I can't walk. Come back quick." Daniel's parents hadn't treated me well, but they weren't awful either. A life was at stake, so I returned immediately and took her to the hospital. The doctor said, "Her legs need surgery or she'll be paralyzed. It'll cost about $10,000. I called Daniel in front of her, announcing clearly, "Your mom needs urgent surgery or she won't walk again." I put him on speaker. His voice dripped with irritation. "Sarah Wilson, don't think I don't know you're faking concern to scam me. I'm telling you, even if my mom's legs are actually ruined, I don't have money. She's old. She doesn't need to go anywhere. What's the point of fixing her legs? You're the daughter-in-law. Handle these trivial things yourself and don't call me about them." His mother was so furious she cursed him. "Daniel Carter, you ungrateful beast, I raised you for nothing. If I'd known you'd turn out like this, I should have strangled you at birth." Daniel's voice grew annoyed. "Mom, are you and Sarah teaming up to mess with me? I'm busy. Stop buying into hospital scare tactics." I'm hanging up. The call ended abruptly. His mother broke down, grabbing my hand, tears streaming. "Sarah, all these years, you've cared for me and Daniel's father despite our poor health. You're a good daughter-in-law. It's been so hard for you to carry this family alone. My son's a waste. I've decided to sell our rural house. It's not worth much, but it'll cover medical costs. A few days ago, they called saying our land's part of a highway project. We signed the compensation deal, about $100,000. That's enough for my and Dad's treatment. The rest is yours. You can't keep suffering. Now I see a good daughter-in-law is worth more than a son." I said nothing. A few days later, Ethan called. "I want to transfer to a school in the city where Dad works. Help me with the paperwork." He no longer called me Mom. If he and Daniel wanted to live with that woman, I wouldn't hold them back. After moving to Chicago, Ethan added me on a messaging app. but only to pester me about the transfer. He said the new school required connections and $3,000 for facilitation fees. "Send the money quick," he demanded. I checked his profile. He'd posted photos with a beautiful woman and a young girl. I recognized her, Claire Thompson, Daniel's high school classmate, the class beauty. Claire married young at 19 to a wealthy man, had a daughter, and was widowed soon after. Rumor was she never remarried. I hadn't realized she and Daniel had been together for years. One post showed a room filled with pink roses. Ethan captioned it, "The beautiful fairy goddess. This room of flowers, flown in from abroad, cost $10,000. So jealous she has such a gorgeous, gentle mom. Wish I had one like her." $10,000. Daniel spared no expense for Claire's smile, but grudged every cent for his own mother's treatment. Though my heart ached, I was no longer ruled by emotion. I helped Ethan with the transfer, but refused to send the $3,000. He bombarded me with messages, demanding money. Exasperated, I replied, "I'm out of money." He shot back, "Borrow $3,000 online. You can pay it back later." I ignored him. Unable to hold back, Daniel called, berating me. "Sarah Wilson, what's wrong with you? Your son's education is a big deal. He's your flesh and blood, and you're stingy over $3,000? My company's strapped for cash, or I wouldn't ask you. And don't think I don't know you're scheming with my parents, faking illnesses to extort me. Can you stop being so calculating? My company's in its startup phase. If you can't help, at least don't add to my stress." I replied coldly, "You've never spent a dime on Ethan. He's your son. Pay for his school. I'm done with both of you." I hung up. Daniel kept calling, but I didn't answer. His mother needed surgery, and his father, now severely senile, had fallen into a river. Both required care. I was about to notify Daniel when I heard his mother sobbing in the hospital corridor, pleading with him over the phone. "Son, come back. Your father was pulled from the river, then fell off his bed and died. I just had surgery, and it's not looking good. Please come back, or how will I live?" Daniel's voice was icy and impatient. "Mom, did Sarah put you up to this to trick me? Can you stop dragging me down? I'm building a business in Chicago, not partying. I'm swamped every day. Don't bother me." His mother nearly had a heart attack from rage, utterly despairing. "You unfilial wretch! If you don't come now, don't show your face when I'm dead. I disown you." She hung up and cried all day. Over 3 days, she called Daniel 897 times. He ignored 896 calls, and on the one he answered, warned her not to disrupt his work. Unable to wait for her son, she quietly rammed her head into a wall when I wasn't looking, leaving a will and power of attorney. Her remaining $90,000 in savings was left to me, with no share for Daniel. I handled the funerals for Daniel's parents. The compensation money arrived, and I switched jobs and bought a new house. 3 years later, Daniel texted me, "Honey, I booked a flight home tomorrow. This time our family will never be apart. My parents are old. I need to be filial." He didn't know they'd passed, and I'd remarried. Ethan called, but I didn't answer. I kept my old number for work, but blocked all other contact with them. Ethan sent a pitiful message, trying to guilt-trip me. "Mom, you haven't checked on me in years. Don't you miss me? I'm your only child." I blocked his number too. Their sudden return was likely to mooch money or because Claire had discarded them. Sure enough, I saw in our high school group chat that Claire was remarrying and moving abroad to Africa with a wealthy, high-status man. The group buzzed with gossip about her choice. Daniel, in the group, stayed silent as usual. Someone tagged Claire, asking why she suddenly decided to marry and leave. She didn't reply, just left the group. The next day, Daniel and Ethan returned to our old house, which had been demolished for a high-rise project. Unable to reach me, Daniel tagged me in the group chat. "Honey, I'm back. Don't be mad. I'm done with Chicago. I'll stay with you now." The group erupted. These two are stealth masters. Daniel, you're shutting down your Chicago company? No wonder. Sarah's been raising Ethan and caring for your parents alone. You should help her. Sarah, say something. Couples fight, but talk it out. A girl sent a shocked emoji. Wait, Daniel and Sarah aren't divorced? The group exploded again. They're not divorced, just living apart. 10 years of marriage, how could they divorce? Daniel clarified, our love's as strong as ever. I tagged Sarah because we had a little spat. I'm back for good. Let's have a class reunion soon. I replied with one line. Daniel Carter and I have had no relationship for 3 years. Not spouses, not lovers, just strangers. I sent it and left the group. Some classmates tried to mediate, adding me back and urging me to reconcile. I ignored them. My life was stable, and I didn't want their interference. Unexpectedly, Daniel and Ethan reported me to the police. I was summoned to the station where I faced them. Ethan, now 18, tall and handsome, glared at me resentfully for not picking them up at the airport and moving without telling them. Daniel was also upset. Sarah, I didn't expect you to become so unreasonable. Even if we're fighting, you shouldn't take it out on Ethan. You blocked his messages and calls. He's your son. Don't you care about breaking his heart? The police, hearing only their side, advised me. Your son's grown. Couples should talk things out, not ghost each other like kids. I stated, Daniel and I aren't married. We're not a family. Before I could finish, Daniel pulled me outside. Stop bothering them. Let's handle our family issues at home. I know you've worked hard. From now on, I'll share the load. He didn't realize his so-called family no longer existed. Ethan reluctantly apologized. I know Dad and I haven't contacted you in 3 years, and you're mad, but you never reached out either. We didn't abandon you. Why are you so angry? You didn't even tell us about the land compensation. Shouldn't you apologize to us first? Seeing my grim expression, Daniel nudged Ethan. Enough. She's your mom. Don't bring this up again. Let's live peacefully. He quickly changed the subject, acting as if nothing had happened. Let's hit the market, buy some food my parents like, and have a family dinner. Sarah, how are Mom and Dad? Where are they living now? Before I could answer, he assumed, Oh, they moved back to the countryside? That's fine. It's less work for you. We'll visit them when we're free. Daniel hadn't changed, always assuming he was right, always interrupting. I didn't want to argue further. For the last time, I declared, Daniel Carter, Ethan Carter, from now on, I have no connection to you. Don't contact me. The moment you chose Claire Thompson, you should have known I'm not a woman who tolerates humiliation. I'll never forgive you. They froze, stunned I knew about Claire, but their stubbornness kept them from admitting fault. Daniel even turned it on me. Sarah, out of respect for your years of caring for my family, I've held back from exposing your affair. For Ethan's sake, if you return to being a proper wife, I'll forgive you. I laughed bitterly, incredulous at his audacity. Daniel, you're the most despicable, shameless man I've ever met. Cheating is a vile act only someone as immoral as you could do. He pulled out his phone, showing a chat with classmates. I didn't want to make a scene, but since you're ungrateful, I won't spare your dignity. Everyone saw you holding hands with another man on the street. Still denying it? I stared him down coldly. Don't you find yourself ridiculous? What right do you have to meddle in my life? You betrayed me first, and now you lecture me? Ethan defended his father. Mom, you're going too far. We're still a family. Don't pin your affair on Dad to cover yours. Don't you know how hard Dad's worked? He and Claire are just classmates. I looked into Ethan's eyes, my voice icy and final. I'm not your mother. Don't call me that. The moment you sold your grandparents' burial plot 3 years ago, you were dead to me. I took a taxi and left, escaping their entanglement. But Daniel used some method to track down my current husband's company. He and Ethan showed up, posing as victims, causing a scene. My husband, Michael Harris, a senior manager, valued his reputation. Hearing the news, I rushed over with our marriage certificate. Ethan stood at the company gate, shouting through a megaphone, "Shameless creep! Michael Harris, you knew my mom was married with a kid, yet you seduced her. Immoral people like you don't deserve to live so carefree." Daniel joined in, cursing. Big shot manager, acting all righteous, but stealing another man's wife. Give me an explanation, or I won't let this go. Employees gathered, whispering. Michael remained calm. I've done nothing wrong and fear no accusations. I warn you, your actions are illegal, violating my reputation. Sarah Wilson and I are legally married. When we got together, she'd been single for a year. Daniel, livid, gritted his teeth. Liar, she's my wife. We never divorced. We're childhood sweethearts with a deep bond. You're the homewrecker. He grew frenzied, lunging to punch Michael. Bystanders stopped him just in time. Ethan added fuel. My parents had a great relationship. Dad worked away, and this creep seduced Mom. Yet you accuse us of breaking the law? You and Mom committed bigamy. They refused to believe Michael and I were married. Employees murmured, eyeing Michael like a true homewrecker. I raised our marriage certificate and declared loudly, Michael Harris and I are legally married. Daniel Carter, Ethan Carter, open your eyes and look closely. Daniel, caught off guard by my sudden appearance, stared at the certificate, dumbfounded. Ethan, furious, screamed, Mom, for that cheap homewrecker, you faked a marriage certificate to fool everyone? Do you think we're idiots? He didn't know the certificate Daniel gave me 19 years ago was fake, yet he brandished that fraudulent document to accuse me. Daniel, disbelieving, sneered, You've changed, Sarah. To be with that homewrecker, you'd forged documents. Are you waiting for me to sue you for bigamy to wake up? I laughed coldly, my eyes full of contempt. Go ahead and sue. If you don't, you're a coward. Daniel's face darkened, unprepared for my defiance. Ethan, agitated, urged, Dad, sue them. Don't let that homewrecker get off easy. Daniel glared at me, his expression implying he'd shown mercy I didn't deserve. I exposed him without hesitation. What right do you have to cause trouble? Who are you to me? Have you forgotten the marriage certificate you gave me 19 years ago was fake? Daniel froze, as if struck by lightning, realizing I'd known the truth for years. Ethan, thinking I was slandering them, shouted, For a homewrecker, you're hurting me and Dad like this? Doesn't your conscience ache? I looked at him with cold, mocking eyes. Ethan, I'm the one who should ask if your conscience hurts. Weren't you obsessed with Claire Thompson? Didn't you say a beautiful woman like her deserved to be your mom? You and your dad secretly sold my parents' burial plot to buy her $1,000 earrings. Where was your conscience then? I carried you for 10 months, nearly died giving birth, raised you with all my love, and you called me disgusting, a sallow old hag who should die. Does your conscience hurt? You two spent $10,000 on flowers flown in to please a mistress, but wouldn't spare a cent for your own mother's treatment. For 15 years, I cared for your sick grandmother, raised you, managed everything alone. Your great father, Daniel, never sent a dime home, only showing up briefly for holidays. He lied about starting a business while living with Claire, raising another woman's daughter. You two don't deserve to be human. Ethan was stunned, realizing I knew everything. Public opinion swung toward me and Michael. My God, these two are absolute scum, like father, like son, shameless. They must have been dumped by the mistress and crawled back to the ex-wife. So vile, tricking a woman with a fake marriage certificate for 15 years, making her raise their kid and care for his sick parents. This man belongs in jail. Someone recorded the scene, posting it online. Daniel, pale, tried to explain. Sarah, I didn't mean to deceive you. I planned to register our marriage properly, but I was too busy and kept delaying. Can we register now? I've always remembered how good you were to me. Michael, furious, grabbed his collar. Sarah's my wife now. Stay away or I won't be polite. Someone called the police. Michael demanded they address the slander. Daniel and Ethan were taken to the station for a warning. The incident went viral online. Old classmates pulled me back into the group chat where messages piled up, all cursing Claire and Daniel. Netizens uncovered Claire's life abroad. After moving to Africa with her daughter, she learned her new husband, a local, already had 9 wives. She was the 10th. Polygamy was legal there, but her life was miserable. Her passport was confiscated, trapping her. Her daughter was married off to an older man with 5 wives. The former school beauty had withered, no longer glamorous, forced into manual labor and abused if she slacked. Reports confirmed Claire and Daniel's relationship had collapsed. Daniel's failed business left him unable to support her, leading to constant fights. He realized Claire only saw him as a cash machine. Another twist. Ethan had fallen for Claire's daughter and wanted to pursue her. Daniel approved, thinking it kept wealth in the family, but Claire snapped, calling Ethan a toad chasing a swan, forbidding her daughter from associating with him. Ethan realized the fairy he idolized never valued him. Disillusioned, they left Chicago. 3 days later, Daniel and Ethan were released from detention. They waited outside my company from morning until closing, their former arrogance replaced by caution and regret. Daniel spoke first, trying to reconcile. Sarah, I know I was wrong. Please give me one last chance. Ethan pleaded softly. Mom, I was immature before. Now I see only you truly love me. I warned coldly, leave or I'll call the police. Daniel, panicked but persistent, blocked my path. Sarah, divorce him. I'll register our marriage right away. I can't lose you. You were so good to my parents. Can't you forgive me for their sake? I laughed, but it was laced with ice. Now you remember your parents? Too late. They died 3 years ago. Daniel's face paled, as if struck by thunder. How? I didn't know. I countered. How could you not? Your mother called you 897 times. You told her, even if you die, don't bother my work. They stood frozen, drained of life, unable to speak. I turned to leave, but Daniel grabbed my arm. Where are my parents' graves? I replied flatly. In the hometown cemetery. Your mother's will was to be buried with your father. Daniel, trembling, pulled Ethan away. Let's go visit your grandparents' graves. 3 days later, Daniel found me again, still begging for forgiveness and a chance to reunite. When I firmly refused, he turned hostile. Your parents' house got over $100,000 in compensation. Our house brought $800,000 in 2 apartments. If you won't come back, Ethan and I deserve 2/3 of it. Choose, live together or give us our share. I laughed coldly, delivering the brutal truth. Your parents' compensation was legally willed to me, protected by law. Our house was mine, but you gave me a fake marriage certificate and fraudulent residency. Legally, you have no claim. The household registry lists only me, so the compensation is mine alone. Daniel was stunned, finally grasping the reality. Unwilling to give up, he hired a lawyer to sue for a share. Both the initial and appellate courts rejected his claim, affirming he and Ethan had no rights to the money. Outside the courthouse, Ethan, enraged, grabbed Daniel's collar, screaming, "This is all your fault. If you hadn't cheated, if you hadn't fawned over that cheap Claire Thompson, we wouldn't be in this mess. Mom wouldn't hate me forever." In a fit, he shoved Daniel, who fell down the stairs, hitting his head hard. Blood pooled as he lay unconscious. Rushed to the hospital, he survived but was left mentally impaired, a babbling shell of himself. Ethan, unable to cope with the family's ruin, developed severe mental disorders and was admitted to a psychiatric facility. As winter passed and spring arrived, flowers bloomed and life pulsed with renewal. I felt my own spring had finally come.